There is fear in the markets right now as U.S. stocks have had the steepest sell-off in over a month as investors await more economic data amongst other reasons in the coming days ahead of the Federal Reserve's next rate decision in December. But it was good to see U.S. stocks start to recover a little bit on Friday, and just getting into kind of a few of the reasons potentially why for this sell-off. Here, the Dow Jones also dropped about 0.65%, but it's really on the backs of several different reasons. I don't know if there's a specific reason for this sell-off at the moment, but one of those reasons being that the kind of worrying and investor worries really as they are growing that the Federal Reserve did not come out and will maybe not come out and will have ample amount of data due to the government shutdown. You can see policymakers are lacking insight into price pressures as well as the jobs market after the record 6-week federal shutdown. And another maybe a reason or another maybe potential indicator of this sell-off has been Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has also continued to suffer. It's falling below $96,000 per Bitcoin there. And that's kind of a indicator that this is a macro kind of issue. It's not something specifically with stocks or with crypto. It's kind of a macro thing going on with different equities. And you kind of look at the chart here, and it was very important for, this is SPY, ticker symbol SPY, actually up 0.16% on the weekly chart here, or on the day rather, but it was very important for it to hold the weekly 9 EMA here, and it was able to do that on Friday. You could see it kind of lost it briefly under the $665, but it closed the day at 671 here, and it was very important for it not to break that level of support. Otherwise, the next kind of level of support would have been here at the 21-day weekly EMA at $648 a share. So that was bullish to see that during the day on Friday. And, we'll see how that carries over into after hours and then Monday as the markets reopen and any kind of new news that comes out between now and then. It will be very interesting to see and very important that it continues to hold this line as it has done since, back in April when the market was really looking nasty during those weeks. But looking more at this data issue, right, with the government reopening and that affecting the Fed and what data is available to them. So pretty much economists, policymakers, and everyone who is seeking this data is going to have to wait for weeks for a more up-to-date picture of what inflation looks like, what spending, what these labor market and more macroeconomic topics are gonna look like during the shutdown. And there's a chance that some of these metrics may never be produced, right? There could be a permanent gap in understanding that could have lasting consequences. And an economist actually at George Washington University came out and said they just don't think they're ever going to know what happened in October, and even if they do, it might just be an estimate. So that is one reason for this kind of small sell-off, I believe, and it's going to make it challenging for the Federal Reserve, who is going to be having to make a decision on rate cuts and what to do with those rates in December. So that's something to keep on your radar as we come in the next few weeks. But another potential maybe reason for this kind of changing sentiment in the air is Michael Burry. So Michael Burry, who was in The Big Short, actually came out and said that he was publicly shorting two companies, one being NVIDIA and one being Palantir, obviously two of the biggest names on the market. And he was saying this all kind of comes on the backs of this sense that he gets that they are not accurately depreciating their AI related products, all of big tech really, And he's saying they're basically moving it from a 2 or 3 year depreciation to a 5 to 6 year. And you can go and look those numbers up for each company, which he thinks that this is not, accurately reflecting the truth in the years that this equipment lasts, and that in doing so, it artificially inflates their net profit on their balance sheet. And so for that reason, he is short on kind of the AI sector right now, and he's becoming skeptical of it. And he actually came out in his letter to close down his hedge fund actually by the end of the year, because he's saying he doesn't understand today's market. And this is an investor who was basically knew before anyone about the 2008 housing and mortgage crisis. And he's coming out again and boldly saying that everyone else is wrong about these AI companies. Specifically, he opened 2 very large positions worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And so this kind of probably tainted some sentiment in investors on the sell-off Thursday. But, we do have some tech companies still, coming out with new headlines about their investments in AI. And Google has actually invested $40 billion in new data centers in Texas. So their AI capital expenses are not slowing down. And on the backs of this news, it came out that Berkshire is revealing a new $4.3 billion Google stake, and they're selling off some of Apple. So Warren Buffett's not shying away, Berkshire Hathaway not shying away from Google, which was listed in one of those companies who is potentially extending the depreciation of those AI-related infrastructure products. But another bullish sign here is Trump here on Friday afternoon announcing new tariff live updates, and that he is signing an order to reduce tariffs on beef, coffee, bananas to help slash U.S. grocery bills. So with the government reopening, that means the SNAP program will be getting more funding, and then along with it, potentially some lower grocery prices with the reduction of tariffs from Trump. So got some bullish signs kind of in Friday going into the close, holding above the weekly 9 EMA here, like I said. Some news about reduction of tariffs, Warren Buffett making investments into big tech and big AI. And so let me know in the comments what you think of where the market stands, what you think is coming on Monday as we approach it. But I do send out a newsletter with 3 actionable stock ideas each day. And so if you want to receive that, just click on the link in the description and enter your email, and you'll receive 3 different ideas from investors around the internet in your email completely for free. So do that, and I will see you in the next video.